In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how you can add lean muscle mass without fat. Stick around if you want to learn more.
What's going on, guys? Francis here.
Hey there, Jerome with Exalted Vigor Athletics, and today we're going to talk about how you can add lean muscle mass without fat. So I'm going to plug the freebie that's going on with this video, which is going to be in the blog post, which is the Muscle Building Potential Calculator. This calculator will tell you what your genetic potential for your muscle mass is, and what body fat percentage and weight you'll be at that genetic potential, and as well as how much muscle you can expect to put on given your lifting experience and your current body weight.
So as far as defining bulking is concerned, this term is thrown around quite a bit, but we're using the term to mean gaining weight in the hopes of gaining muscle, essentially. And taking that a step further, lean bulking is trying to minimize the amount of fat you gain at the same time. Essentially, there is a limit to the amount of muscle you can gain in any given span of time. So anything you eat past that is more than likely going to be stored as fat. So what lean bulking accomplishes is gaining as much muscle as you could while also gaining as little fat as possible. Essentially, there is a range or a percentage that you want to stay in as far as your caloric surplus is concerned, and that's about 5 to 10%, depending on different factors.
So now I want to talk about who is an ideal candidate for lean bulking. So an ideal candidate would be someone who's actually patient enough to go through the trouble of putting on muscle at a slow pace, because we're talking about 2 pounds, 1 pound a month of muscle that you're putting on for beginners, intermediate lifters. And, let's say if you're following, a dirty bulk or just a traditional bulk, you're adding, 4 or 5 pounds every month, maybe even more if you're going even more drastic. And if you're not patient, if you're not like, okay, well, I'm really working to put on that muscle, that 2 pounds can just seem like a lot. But at the end of the day, it does add up. So, 2 pounds in 6 months, that ends up being 12 pounds of muscle, just lean muscle that you put on, and you didn't have to put on any fat and then have to post-cut that fat as well. Another ideal candidate would be someone who doesn't obviously want to put on fat while they are bulking. So that is what the ideal goal is when you lean bulk. And then next would be someone who's tired of non-stop cutting and bulking cycles. So just that vicious cycle of putting on muscle and fat, and then cutting that fat and losing muscle. That just ends up being a non-stop cycle for you to just lose your head in and get miserable about, oh, I'm not feeling in shape, or, oh, I'm not feeling full because I'm dieting. The next ideal candidate would be someone who is looking to master their nutrition. So more specifically, someone who wants to be able to control what they're eating and eat at a rate that they can cut comfortably and put on muscle comfortably. So you don't have to stuff your face to put on muscle, and you don't have to starve yourself to lose fat.
Next, we're going to talk about our 6 keys to a successful lean bulk. Number 1 includes tracking your workout. This is important and goes hand in hand with number 2, which is to push yourself in the gym. What do I mean by pushing yourself in the gym? I mean trying to add a little bit of weight or a rep here or there from workout to workout. The reason that this is important is because the closer you get to maintenance calories, the more likely your body is going to be to try to maintain your muscle mass without trying to add additional muscle. The way that you can offset this and force your body to gain additional muscle is to give it a reason to add additional muscle. And that reason is the form of progressive overload. Number 3 is to avoid, quote unquote, annihilating your muscles in the gym. Especially being that you are close to maintenance calories, you are more susceptible to overexerting yourself and kind of going backwards as far as your progress is concerned. Leaving 1 or 2 reps in the tank is extremely important so that you will be fresh the next time you come to work out again, and you can possibly progressively overload once more, thus continuing to forcing your body to add muscle. Number 4, extremely important, is to track your body composition. Now, the reason that we are not telling you to track your weight is because there are some flaws to tracking your weight, given that there can be huge shifts in water weight that occur, and also, which is very common in beginners, that recomposition very easily. You can lose fat and gain muscle at the same time and very quickly. So this will also throw off your scale weight. For key number 5, this one is going to be a huge duh to most people, but you're going to want to make sure that you're actually eating in a caloric surplus. It's pretty easy for some people to eat at maintenance calories or even a little bit less, and they feel perfectly fine, but they realize that they're not making any progress. This is probably because you are not in a caloric surplus. Going hand in hand with number 6 is to vary your caloric surplus. Now, this is not going to be a masterful process right off the bat. You're going to have a little bit of trial and error more than likely. So when you do kind of stick to your percent of a surplus and you run this for, I don't know, a month, possibly 6 weeks, more than likely you're going to notice, oh, I'm gaining weight too quickly, or I'm not gaining weight quickly enough. And either way, you're going to need to adjust your calories up and down just slightly in order to compensate. So today we talked about lean bulking, which is essentially adding muscle while minimizing fat gain by eating in a very small caloric surplus and applying progressive overload at the same time.
Again, lean bulking is ideal for someone who wants to put on muscle without putting on fat. And it's going to be these people that don't want to go through that vicious cycle of cutting and bulking nonstop, and as well as people who want to get the best out of their nutrition. So mastering their nutrition in a way that it just adds enough that they can put on muscle without that fat. Lastly, if you scroll down to the description of this video, you'll see a link to the blog post, which is going to have the freebie for this video, which is the Muscle Building Potential Calculator. This calculator will tell you what your genetic potential is for muscle building, as well as what weight you'll be at for a certain body fat percentage. As well, it'll tell you how much muscle you can expect to put on in a given period of time. And finally, I want to thank you guys for watching this intro video to lean bulking, and I hope you guys have a good day.
And for those of you who are interested in regular updates, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and check us out at our Facebook page.